Pratt and Senator Scarr for questions. Do you have an opening statement, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You can go ahead now.
Okay, thank you. The opening statement I've got is the opening paragraph on ASIC's submission is an abomination and insulting the intelligence of the victims and their families. ASIC acknowledges the collapse of the Sterling Group and Sterling Income Trust has had a devastating impact on their clients, many of whom are elderly. However, from there on, ASIC is showing it has no understanding of the crime scene and what we have had to put up with ASIC for the past 2.5 years. We do not agree on the following. Those losses were primarily caused by product and organisational complexity, mispriced products, and a fall in the residential property market. That is totally untrue. The reason we are here today is because on the 21st of March 2014, Sterling New Life was registered with ASIC by known criminal directors that had failures in West Point and Heritage. But ASIC still thought it was a good idea to license the responsible entity, knowing fully the past history and associations of those involved. These permissions to steal the life savings from aged pensioners came from ASIC. Mr. Longo stated that we went into this with 2 hats on when we signed up, tenant hat and an investor hat. That statement is insanely insensitive. We were not investors, we were renters. The landlord was the investor. There was no mention of the word investors in promotions before or at the time of our signing leases for 40 years. None. Our life savings was to go into a trust fund that we could leave in our will for our family after we passed on. That was a major selling point. We have since found out that the sellers of Sterling were not licensed, nor did they have any access to or any knowledge of any PDS, and that we were not privy to prior to signing the Sterling leases. ASIC have an appalling record in these schemes, and after 23 years of failures, still have no idea. Denise Brayley warned them about West Point when losses were around $100 million, but did nothing until West Point collapsed, owing $680 million. ASIC did not learn from that mistake. When they finally put a stop order on Sterling in September 2017, they then allowed another $11 million to be stolen up until January 2019, when the last tenants entered the scheme. A royal commission into ASIC's appalling efforts is needed so these white-collar criminals are stopped from stealing from the elderly. ASIC's job is to weed the criminals out of the system before any more people are put through the stress, mental anguish, and the embarrassment we were forced to endure because of ASIC's negligence. We also suffered from the first couple to go to the Supreme Court and be evicted from our house. As ASIC is 100% at fault, we want an apology for putting us through hell. They should man up, admit they were wrong, and have the decency to have all of our life savings that they allowed Sterling directors to steal returned to us now, so we can at least have a Merry Christmas in 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.